Hello, is there anybody out there? Apparently I'm live. It says that I've got one person watching. Anybody else is there? If anyone else can find me. Pete's going to send out a, hi David, said I'm lucky indeed. I'm going to just give people, David, can you hear me? Have you done your one yet? I've got David online. Back to okay. Via MailChimp. Yeah. You don't know how to do it. Okay. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's not working anyway. So I'm back. Oh my God. Am I back really? Can you? Oh, you've got video. Yay. Okay. I'm opening the wine now. Hopefully. And I've put the computer down on the desk so that I could actually type rather than having it up in the air. So I'm in the wrong angle, but here's some wine, 2013 Chardonnay. Quick, let's get some wine in the glass and let's talk about it before everything goes horribly wrong again. Nobody move. I know, I'm not even prepared to, put my computers back on the books. I'm just going to talk. Okay, great. You need a second bot. I know that. I'm so sorry, everyone. Apparently it's not my talk. Okay, great. You need a second bot. I know that. I'm so sorry, everyone. Apparently it's not my fault. Kay says that we were having NBN upgrades today. Anyway, so 2013 Chardonnay. What a beautiful, it's such a beautiful color. It's got this gorgeous goldenness to it. Smells stunning. I think Craig was saying lemon curd. I get that absolutely. It's also salted lemons. It's also got this lovely kind of like green mango, green papaya kind of a note to it, which is 2013 was quite a warm year, and it's starting to Craig. Yes, upgrade indeed. It's very, very helpful when it doesn't work when you need it to. Hey, it looks good with the backlight, doesn't it? It looks a bit greener with the green leaves behind me too. It's a little more gold than it looks on the screen to me. But anyway, we're there. And for those of you who've persevered, I thank you very much for your patience. I've got a little dog here next to me. Polly's barking at everyone else. The colour is amazing for an 11-year-old Alison, isn't it? It's just... I think the nose is amazing too. It's also got, for me, it's got this lovely sort of honeyed note. There's a cashew nut. It's almost like cashew nuts that have been roasted in honey and then rolled in salt because it's salty, caramelly, cashew nutty. It's not Polly, David. It's young Tallulah Bell here. There she is, sitting on another patchwork that we have. It is almost fluorescent, Alison. I'm going to put some in my mouth and taste it. It's got that character on the palate that's nice and rich and full-bodied, but it's got lovely acid line to it still. It is just like lemon meringue pie. Craig, I was just about to say the same thing. Lemon meringue pie. It's got that kind of white peach. There's this really cool dessert that Marcella Hazan has in one of her Italian cookbooks. It's basically white peaches macerated in a little bit of sugar and Prosecco, and you just leave it in there for sort of half an hour before you eat it, and you can put blueberries or cherries or strawberries in with it as well, and it's absolutely delicious. And I get a little bit of that sort of Prosecco-y kind of macerated white peach. There's a biscuity note, absolutely, Fiona, almost like shortbread. It's got that sort of rice flour and butter kind of toasted rice flour and butter kind of notes, or even buttered Japanese rice. There's something really alluring about it, because it's got this caramelly, buttery kind of note, but it's also got this real savoury, starchy character to it as well, which is very, I think, quite comforting to me anyway. I really like that combination of flavours. There's enough fruit in there, and there's enough brightness in there, even at 12 years of age. Is that right? Yes, 12 years of age. Yeah, I think we're working now, Pete, but I'm not going to like jinx it by saying that it's working, but it's tethered to my phone and people can see me and they can hear me, and we're talking about the wine, so that's all good. Thank you. Kay's getting hay and nectarine, not so much lemon. Yeah, absolutely. That nectarine-y kind of a note, I think, absolutely. And Polly's here. Hello, Polly. It's it'd be beautiful with Dauphinoise, Dan. Yum. It's a Chardonnay cuddle, isn't it, Craig? It's got all that kind of it's got sort of a plushness and a richness and a roundness to it that makes it very, very appealing. And you don't have to think too hard about it. It's just yum. Kay's having it with bigger heritage cheddar. A little bit, so yeah, I think it's possibly a bit, yeah, that would be hiding the lemon. If you're having it with popcorn, either just popcorn with butter, I would think would be amazing, butter and salt, or if you went a little bit fancy, like I suggested, and chopped up some herbs and grated some hard cheese on it, that would be incredible. I actually made the Caesar salad that we've made earlier this year for part of our Christmas lunch with the staff. So I reckon that'd also go really well with it, because it's got that anchovy creamy dressing. It's got the garlicky croutons, and it's got some sage and some rosemary through it. And this has got some little, I think those herbal notes. If you chopped up some sage and some rosemary into your popcorn, I think that's going to work that would have worked really, really well with the wine, because it's a wine that likes a little bit of herbal note. It's also, I reckon, the perfect wine to match to a really good roast chicken that's got that really classic sort of sage bread stuffing in it, when you want to eat the stuffing more than you want to eat the chicken. Andrew and Shell moved back to Oz in 2013. This reminds you of Okanagan, British Columbia Chardonnays you drink over there. Oh, how lovely. Yeah, definitely, Fiona, some toasted almonds. When we were kids, we used to get these almonds that were kind of coated in it was sort of a caramel toffee, but again, they were slightly salted, so they were pretty delicious. And there's something that reminds me of those in this wine as well. And there is something that's quite similar to an Okanagan, or those cooler climate American Chardonnays, Shell, for sure. Okay, that's verging on naughty. It's got this lovely softness and roundness to it, which I think is kind of part of that cuddliness that it's got. But as it opens up, the lemon's kind of softening off, and the stone fruits coming up, and those sort of toasted, buttery, slightly caramelized nuts is coming up as well, which is really yum. So 2013, in some ways it doesn't feel that long ago, but in lots of ways it feels like ages ago. It's 12 years ago. And in 2013, I was working. What was I doing? I was working for Moorooduc. I'd been a Master of Wine for 3 years. It was probably about the time that I finally came back to do vintage seriously, because I'd been involved with the Wine and Food Festival in Melbourne, and particularly when they did the really fancy wine tastings and the food stuff with all the amazing chefs that came out and did master classes. I was involved in that for a few years, and I eventually made the decision that I needed to retire from doing that so that I could be involved properly in vintage. And I think 2013, it was either 2013 or 2014 maybe. I'm thinking 2013 was hot during vintage. I was involved, but sort of maybe 2 days a week. And then 2014, I'd kind of given everything up, and it was the tiniest vintage that we'd had for a long time, so there wasn't anything for me to do. So then I went back to my day job. Who's on high caps? Dan. Oh, dear. Dr. Craig. Oh, Dr. Craig. That's very kind of you to be here for everyone, or just for Kay. The Medicare number, absolutely, for that as a treatment, for sure. I think that kind of, helps, would help a lot of people. A little Chardonnay cuddle, a little champagne cuddle. Very pleasing. As the wine warms up, you can see that it's from a warmer vintage. It's kind of got those quite solid phenolics to it, which give it a sort of a cheesy, leesy kind of a note. The acid's kind of not as high as it would be in Chardonnays these days. Still got plenty of acid to sort of hold it all together, but still a bit softer than we're seeing these days. Dan's suggesting that Medicare won't pay what we need the private rebate. Gotcha. Sorry. So, yeah, I don't understand all the jokes. Thank you very much, David, for explaining it to me. But I think this is a lovely wine to share as our last wine for Drinks with Kate in 2024, and also the week before Christmas, I think everyone's a bit frazzled, and there seem to be a lot of people with various illnesses going around because they've been working too hard, and there's a lot of stress, and everyone's trying to get all their jobs done before they finish up for work. A lot of people are finishing up tomorrow. I hope some of you hiccups. Yes, Peter, not quite yet. No bulk billing here, absolutely. Yeah, we're all, so hopefully most of you guys are having some time off over Christmas. Maybe you're finishing up, maybe you've already finished work for the year, maybe you're finishing up tomorrow. We'll be here at Moorooduc on Monday, but then we close on Tuesday for a bit of Christmas, rest. No bulk wine, correct, David. No bulk billing, no bulk wine, no hiccups. All of these things are illegal at Moorooduc. But yeah, I hope that, and a lot of people have said to me that they're having, the whole 2 weeks from, end of work tomorrow through to Monday after New Year's Eve. And I think that sounds very sensible. It's one of the joys for most people, having Christmas in the middle of the week. But also, it's a little bit difficult for those of us in hospitalities, and it's not affecting me as much as it's affecting our beautiful cellar door team, but they will be back at work for most of the days. But yeah, a nice round, friendly, easy, mature, grown-up Chardonnay, I think, is exactly what we need. 6 days out from Christmas. So, Craig, you are correct. 2025 so far is going to be amazing. You never know what could go wrong between now and vintage, so we don't want to make too many assumptions. But so far, everything's looking good. We've got a really good fruit set. The vines are looking incredibly fit and healthy. It's quite dry, but we are not. We're not running out of water yet. So the baby vines have got water coming up to them, and the rest of the vines are fine without being watered. So that's good. Yeah, I think if we have a nice kind of, not too hot, not too cold, not too wet, no hail, thanks very much, summer, that would be delightful. And I think that it would put us in good stead for an excellent 2025 vintage. Very exciting. Again, Craig, until we sort of see, hello, Michael, how you going? Sorry you had to come looking hard for me. We've been having a bit of trouble with technology tonight, so hopefully it wasn't too hard to find us. Thank you for coming on board. If it's not too hot, so David, if we have lots of heat, and I'm talking about over sort of 28 degrees because the vines start to close down at about 28 degrees, and then they close their stomata and they just shut down and they stop photosynthesizing and they stop ripening grapes while it's hot. So if we had like a streak of 30 plus days over a week or two in January or February, that could cause some trouble. If we got lots of sunshine, then we could get sunburn on the grapes, which we don't want to see. So just a nice warm summer, you know. For me, the perfect temperature is about 26 to 20. Well, no, 26 is a bit cool. 28 degrees is pretty yummy to me for summer. So not too many over 30 degree days. Certainly not too many over 40 degree days would be awesome. But I think we're setting up for a pretty nice summer. Okay, what's going on between tricks? Yeah, good, awesome to have you. Yeah, good to have you live and with the wine. Very cool. If it's cool overnight, definitely helps, David. But remembering that being here on the peninsula, the maritime climate means that it stays cooler during the day, but it doesn't get as cold at night as it would if we were more continental. So you don't get that big diurnal shift from day to night, but it's generally cooler than it would be in Melbourne or in the Yarra Valley or the Adelaide Hills. So yeah. Dan wants to know how the Nebbiolo is looking. It's looking good. It's growing well. The baby vines are still baby vines, so we won't get any fruit from them for a while, but that's okay. They're growing like topsy, I think is the official description. Peter and Karen are off to Egypt on the 27th. Have a wonderful time. I'll look forward to hearing about it when you get back. Who else is saying? What else are other people saying? Oh, Craig, what was the highlight of my year? Oh, Craig, talking to you guys every Thursday night is the highlight of my year. Every Thursday. Do you mean wine-wise? And if you mean wine-wise, do you mean Moorooduc Estate wine or do you mean just generally? Because I'm not sure if I've got that much in my brain. I've got to say going to Argentina was a pretty special event for me because I learnt a lot, got to taste a heap of wines and thought it was pretty exciting, but also made me quite pleased that we're growing grapes and making wine here on the Mornington Peninsula. I think it's pretty awesome. Nareem, Drinks with Kate trip, here we come, 2025. Absolutely. May, we're doing some work on that over the holidays and I'll send you an itinerary and some costing early next year. So I hope you've got that penciled in your diary. Michael, I do love this wine. Such a shame you can only enter new wines into shows. What about setting up a show for 10-year-old wines? Or is that the domain of decanter and critics? So it's really interesting, Michael, that a lot of critics will, in a show system, particularly, I think if they're looking at young wines and then they look at old wines, and the old wines look weird in comparison, and they've got their little show palettes all kind of sorted out for super young wines. And so older wines get really kind of slammed in shows. They've tried a number of times to introduce an older wine section to wine shows, but never really works. But, you know, I think it would be fun. Decanter and critics don't get to see these old wines very often either. It's a thing that really is quite unique to what we do here when the internet decides to work. When we sit here and drink an old bottle of Moorooduc Estate wine and talk about it for half an hour, 45 minutes, it's a pretty unique thing that we're doing because it's so hard to get those wines out into people's glasses and getting people talking about them. Because as well as it being sort of more difficult to taste old wine than young wine for a lot of people, even wine critics and people who have specialist palates. Alison, I was just getting there. We don't have any stock to sell, so nobody wants to write about wine that we've got, 3 dozen that we've sent a bottle of the wine to 3 dozen households who want to taste it. That's one bottle of the wine each and it's all gone. So there's no one wants to write it up. There's not a lot of point putting it into a wine show because unfortunately people are not prepared to say, well, if the 13 looks like this 12 years after it was bottled, then perhaps I should buy some of the Moorooduc Estate wine from this year and hold it for 12 years. They just don't believe that that's necessarily going to work. So I think, honestly, you guys are sort of very much the inner sanctum of people who get to try Moorooduc Estate wine, young, old, and in between. So I think it's one of the reasons that this little group has continued on for a lot longer than I thought it would, because I thought this was just something that we would do during lockdowns when we couldn't get out of the house. And now that you choose not to leave the house and sit and talk to me on your computers instead on a Thursday, I think that's pretty special. And I think that that's hopefully got a lot to do with the wines that we look at, because they are pretty special. Now, what are people saying? Is being fabulous as a new wine a good indicator of how it ages? Often it is, Peter and Karen. Sometimes as young wines, these wines look a bit tight and a bit closed, but the 2013 Chardonnay was delicious from the get-go. So that does help. Kaza Goodman, they feel very honoured to taste these unique wines with you. Not taking, oh, thank you, bless. I wasn't trying to blow my trumpet or anything like that, but I think it's really special. I feel very honoured that you guys want to come and taste the wines with me, so I get to open fun bottles of wine every Thursday night with you. It's really fun, and don't have to drive as well is a plus, Fiona. I agree. Alison, such a treat because I wouldn't keep a wine well enough or just plain keep it. I was telling people at work. So yeah, it is. It's, well, that's we like to share things that we've had stashed in the back of the cellar for a while. So it helps. Now, Michael, you're disagreeing. Tasting and writing about 10, 20-year-old wine inspires people to buy it. It does me, but we're very, yes. Don't get me wrong, Michael. I would love wine writers and wine shows to want to look at these wines just to be able to write about them. We're probably not quite famous enough for people to want to taste wine of ours just to have the honour of writing a tasting note for it. Those sort of wines are things like Domaine de la Romani Conti and First Growth Bordeaux. Then people will go, oh, I know I can't buy it, but could I at least taste it so I can write a tasting note so that I can tell people what this wine might be looking like if they have it in their cellars or that sort of thing. Moorooduc should be in everybody's cellars and everyone should be aging it and should be asking the critics to tell them how the wine's aging. But unfortunately, we're not quite there yet. We're working on it, maybe in another 5 or 10 years. We are famous. I'm very, very famous here in my own little TV show called Drinks with Kate. It's very fun. What did Craig say? Oh, yeah, thank you. Yes. Inner and honoured. It's quite a good strap line, actually, Alison. Maybe that can be our T-shirt for next year. Excuse me. I'm looking forward to having a little bit of a quiet time over Christmas. I'm also looking forward to catching up with friends and family. If any of you guys are coming down this way or planning to pop into Moorooduc, please let me know, because I will be having a little holiday, but I will also be mostly around and about. So if I'm around and about and you're coming down and I haven't seen you for a while, please let me know, because I'll come over and say hi, if at all possible. It will be really nice. The girls as well will both be in cellar door, and Scott as well. If you haven't met Scott, he's our third cellar door person who's going to be helping out this summer and hopefully for a long time to come, because we love him. He's awesome. Alison, speaking of merch, we are working on some stuff. Watch this space. 2025 is going to be big. We're going to have the website all finished and out of the way, so Pete and I can concentrate on much more important things like merch. Craig wants to know, if we could be really Penfolds famous, would we want it? Might be a bit deep for Christmas, Craig. I would rather than being Penfolds famous, I would like to be Henri Jayer famous or Coche famous. And the reason that I say that, and I know that they're French, they're Burgundy producers rather than Australian producers, maybe Giaconda famous. You know, I think Penfolds is famous because they make huge quantities of wine, and it goes all the way from Grange at the top to Canunga Hill, I think, is their cheapest wine, but I'm not even sure. And everything in between. And that's exhausting. I don't want us to ever have to be a really big wine company to be famous. But if you look at, in Australia, someone like Bindi Wines, Michael Dillon has done an amazing job of elevating the recognition and love for his wines without selling out, without having to get big or corporate. Giaconda the same. I think also those Burgundy producers, you know, Coche is it's like a unicorn wine for a lot of people, Chardonnay wise. Thank you, Peter and Karen. We might be Bindi famous for people who know us, but we're not. We don't have the value on the secondary market that they do. People don't. Our wine doesn't seem to increase in value if it goes through Langton's, because there aren't enough people out there who think it's worth spending lots of money on buying well-aged Moorooduc Estate wine yet. But we're working on it. But yeah, I think if we can sell all the wine that we make, and we have a bit of, you know, competition out there in the world for it, then and we sell it for enough to be able to keep this business going and to be able to look after Jill and Richard in their dotage and make some improvements every year, then that's really about as awesome. We are on all the wine lists that Bindi and Giaconda wines are on. We're at a slightly lower price point, which is partly our choice and partly because I think that they can ask for those prices, but we don't want to make our wine outrageously expensive just because we can. I think that's probably part of our not very good business plan, and the fact that we like our wines to be drunk by the people who've been drinking them and enjoying them over time. So changing the price point enormously is not going to help that. It's going to make it more difficult for other people. When the Drinks with Kate marketing team come on board, the sky's the limit. Well, I'm not sure if we can afford to pay you guys. Torbrick, yeah, they put all their prices up and then they had to put them all down again. So they you know, it's a bit tricky. We absolutely will, Michael, avoid the Napa $150 for a tasting fee. That will not be part of our plan. I have to say, I'm going to have to disappear for 2 secs. Give me a second. Talk amongst yourselves. I have the remainder of a cold, and every now and again my nose decides to drip on me, so I really didn't think you needed to I didn't think you needed to see that. Just had to blow my nose for a second. Sue and Jeff, to get more popcorn, absolutely, get another bottle of wine. I wish I could share my wine with you because all of the party goers are in the other room, so I've had like a little glass out of here. I have to take it home and decant it. Yes, there's so many colds going around. It's so annoying, but I feel like I'm getting on top of it finally. Just every now and again, I get a little bit of a nose, problem. I have to just have a bit of a blow. Anyway, right. What if people say you need more quality grapes to make more yummy wine? This is true, Peter and Karen, but I think also, to make more wine, you can't control if you're growing too many grapes, then you can't have personal control over what's done to every single vine. Whereas when you stay small, then you can have that oversight and that control. So I think that is pretty awesome. Fiona, the most annoying thing about a cold is your inability to appreciate wine. And I've got past that. I've got through the not being able to smell anything. And in fact, most of the time my nose is quite clear, but then it just kind of clogs up every now and again. It might be a bit of dust around here, a bit of hay fever as well. Anywho, I can smell it. And Shell, you're saying that the wine's giving your jaws a tingle like sucking on lemons. Yeah, it's got a beautiful acid line to it. And I think as it's just kind of sitting in the glass, it's certainly not falling apart. It's not it's looking better rather than worse, which is a really good sign that it hasn't finished its evolution yet. Kay, Scotland's hills become very large and masses in stainless steels. Oh yeah, absolutely. They decided to go big company, and that's one way of making money in the wine industry is make lots and lots of wine, but then you have to sell it for cheaper, and you've got to find more markets for it, and you've got to get people to taste it. We're chasing quality rather than quantity, and I think that's going to be our aim for many years to come. So being part of the inner sanctum will become more and more valuable going forward, because there'll be more people wanting to access wines that won't be able to, because you guys will have first bite of the cherry. So I think that's pretty awesome. What else are people saying? Oh, Michael, you had COVID. The first time I had COVID, well, I think I've only had COVID officially once, but I may have had it in a mild sense more recently. I lost my sense of smell for about 2 weeks when I had it, and it was just awful, and it came back very slowly over about 3 months. But I think I've finally got it back. But yeah, there's a lot of bugs going around at the moment that seem to be mucking with people's sense of smell as well at the moment. And I had a nasty cold, which was Peter and Karen feeling very valued. Oh, nice. Craig. So, and I think that the Scotchman's Hill, I mean, again, it's a family business, but there's a whole lot of members of the family, and they've all got different ideas of what should be being. Hello, Polly. Are you trying to tell me that it's time for me to finish talking to my friends on Drinks with Kate? Give me another few minutes. We're just about there. We're just about there. Good girl. Thank you, Peter. Go with Pete. Good girl. I'll be with you in a minute. She's being good. She's just she's listening. Yeah. My wolf, I know, she's very opinionated. She's like, you have talked for too long. She hasn't been for a walk yet. Usually we take her for a walk before Drinks with Kate, but of course, because of the party, nothing's happened. Peter's locked both the dogs out now, so I have a little bit more few more minutes of privacy with you guys. But the Chardonnay's looking great. What was I going to say? Oh, yes. So in the lead up to Christmas, and perhaps on Christmas Day or whenever you feel like it, you will have noticed that you've still got a bottle of wine in your wine box. And I thought, well, Christmas is next week on Wednesday. Thursday's Boxing Day. We're not going to do Drinks with Kate on Boxing Day. Sorry, no. We're going to have a little holiday for a few weeks. But I wanted you to have a special bottle of Pinot Noir to have with your Christmas celebrations at some stage. You may have already drunk it, and that's totally your prerogative. But you may have kept it, and I think that 2018 Robinson Pinot Noir is going to be delicious with sort of a fairly broad range of traditional Christmassy fare. It'll be great with ham, be fabulous with roast turkey, chicken, be really good with beef if you go for the fillet. If you go for a bit of fillet steak at Christmas, it'll be lovely with that. It'll be beautiful just, in the afternoon after you've had too much to eat and you just feel like a nice little delicious glass of Pinot Noir to settle down with and read your new Christmas book or do your new Christmas jigsaw puzzle or play your new Christmas games. So hopefully that wine will make you smile and make you miss Drinks with Kate not too much over the Christmas week. So I hope you enjoy that. It has been a wonderful year, Michael. It's been so much fun. I'm glad that you've enjoyed it. I'm glad that you've been able to. Yeah, Craig, you can do it for shots on New Year's Eve as well. That would be a great idea. You have to say "kampai" and then like shot it and keep going. Can you not let her in, please? Because she's barking at me. My drunk parents have just let the dog in again. So I think we might round things up. Sorry, Polly. We were not, Karen. I know you weren't. You just keep him under control. Dan, I'm so glad that you and Paige came back and joined us in 2024. It's been really fun. 2025, we will have, I know I've been promising this for a long time. I feel like an idiot saying it again, but honestly, the only reason the new website hasn't been launched yet is that our web designer has gone on Christmas holidays and he didn't want to launch it until he got back, just in case anything goes wrong. So we're looking at sometime soon after the 6th of January. I feel like everything's kind of in place. So as soon as he's back from holidays, we're going to press the button. So that'll be exciting. There will be a Drinks with Kate wine club sign-up option. So you guys can subscribe for the year and just set and forget, which will be really fun. And I will be sending you an email very early in the new year to let you know when the first box is available to order. Hopefully it will be your first, if you do want to subscribe to Drinks with Kate on the new website, then it's basically, I think the way we'll have it set up is that you subscribe basically to a box for every 2 months, but then if you decide you don't want, 2 or 3 of the boxes when the renewal comes up, or you can just let us know, or you can do it yourself, just choose to skip that delivery and just move on to the next one. So it should be very, very simple. In the meantime, have a fabulous Christmas. Enjoy. Hopefully you'll have a lovely rest. Don't work too hard if you're still at work. And I hope that Father Christmas brings you some special wine. And I love the fact that you guys have spent Thursdays with me again for another year. So I really hope. Thank you, Craig. I agree. I appreciate everything that this little band brings to Thursday nights as well. It's so you're like my little online family. So please come back next year unless you don't want to. And if you don't want to, you can tell me and I'll stop. But I don't think we can stop now. I think this is an inevitable part of our lives now. Thank you so much again for another year of Drinks with Kate. We're going to have a anniversary party soon because we've been doing this for such a long time. But have a fabulous Christmas and a happy New Year, and I'll see you all again either in Celador over Christmas, and if not, I'll see you online. Vedison or us. Yes, thank you very much for that, Kay. That's a very cool little motto for us. I'll see you here over the summer, or I'll see you back here online, hopefully with no internet problems in 2025. Have a great rest of your year. Love you all. Missing you already. Take care, and hope to see you soon. Cheers.